What do people brag about? Well, a friend sent me a picture. I have to say it inspired me to talk. He met me on the pier, and I ministered to him and his friends. 2 days later, I went back. I bought my book to give as a gift, and I bought them cinnamon, hot, fresh cinnamon rolls from the best bakery in town. I asked nothing of them or from them, just to demonstrate the love of God as best I know how. I never give a stranger the least. I give them the best. I have friends that give me the least, and I'm their friend. But the people that know me in the world, in the street, they know that about me. The girls that work at the grocery store, when they're hurting or in pain, I go to the most expensive flower shop and I go to the most expensive candy shop. They always can't believe that I do it. They know I do it because of me, not because of them. In other words, the love that we receive is because of God's abundance. It's not because of you. And that means it's a sacrifice. I don't do it because I'm rich. I'm not. I don't do it because I have money. I typically don't. I sacrifice something to do it. It says I sacrifice for my friend at the pier. A stranger, really, not a friend yet. He sent me a picture of a giant fish that he caught off the pier. And I mean, it was giant. The kind of fish you only catch if you're out in the deep. He caught it off the pier. And the smile and the joy on his face over that big fish. I couldn't wait to share it with me. He just met me. He boasted, he bragged, he celebrated, he rejoiced. People will brag and boast all the time. The deal they just closed, the woman they just betted or got, the car they just purchased, the house they just built, the stocks, the president that just won the election, the trip they just took, the weight they just lifted in a gym, the wave they just rode at the beach. They'll boast about paying off a mortgage. They'll boast about paying off their taxes. They'll boast about paying off all their credit cards. One of my friends sent me actually about 2 years ago the statement. All of his credit cards were paid. Why are you sending that to me? But he boasted about it. Paid off all his credit cards. He never boasted about paying off God. He never boasted about what he did for God. Well, and my point is there's never, because he doesn't. Because he doesn't. He doesn't. Would you sacrifice the peace that God gives you over the peace the world can give you? And the answer is most of you do. You do. You'll sacrifice the peace that God can give you over the peace the world can give you. And the world's peace is never peace, by the way. You can pay off a house and pay off a worldly debt. It will not give you the peace of paying off God's debts. Jesus said it, the peace I give not unto the world. And no matter what you do, you can gain the whole world, but you won't have peace. You see, most of you feel the burden of the world because you carry the burden of the world. But Jesus said to carry his burden because his burden is easy and his yoke is light. You see, there is a burden we all are supposed to carry. We're just carrying the wrong one. Why not carry the burden of your debt to God and your sacrifice to God? But God doesn't get that typically from most of you. The world does. I have several friends, and they're not in good marriages right now. Several. Too many to count, to be honest with you. And what they all have in common is their focus is on their wife. Because they sense that if the wife was just loving them right and doing what's right, they would be happy. No. See, we go back to the burden that we were called to carry. Everyone's supposed to take up the cross, not the cross of the world, the cross of God. And when you pick up that cross, that is the burden that gives you ease and peace. That is the yoke that frees you rather than binds you. It's a yoke, but it actually frees you. It's a burden, but it actually gives you peace. For my burden is easy and my yoke is light. But we always prefer the burden and the yokes have been. A few years ago, I was given a gift from a friend of mine from Israel. And I could have taken off all of the burden of the $9,000 tax debt I have. And it's not really a $9,000 tax debt. It was a penalty assessment. And it was actually around $15,000. They reduced it to like $9,000. That was the deal. Well, if you can pay $9,000, we'll take this debt off of you. And I looked at that and I wasn't able to. Some of my real estate deals didn't produce enough for me to pay it off. Made monthly installment payments. And then I was given this great gift from a friend who I hadn't known very long, but felt so blessed by my ministry that he gave me this huge gift. And it would have paid off the debt. And when he gave me the gift, I wasn't wanting to reject it, but I felt terrible that someone that I just met would give such a large gift to me. And the people that I've ministered to for years have never done such a thing. If anyone would give me a large gift, it would be those people. They don't. But what it was this person from Israel, a Jew who was so overwhelmed by my ministry to him. And I prayed, I talked to Father about that, and I said, Father, others should be doing more than he does, and they don't. What a wonderful man this is, and so much he wants to give, Papa. And I would like to not take it, Father. I don't want to offend him. It would solve my problems. But it doesn't seem fair, Father. This man would give such a gift so easily and so he's not rich either. He took a sacrifice. He wanted to bless me. So I prayed and talked to the Father. Then I talked to the friend and I said, listen, thank you. Such a large gift. But would you maybe only half of it? How about that? Only half. Would pray about it and see if that's okay. I don't want to reject your gift, but it's a bit much. What about just half of that would help? And he did. And my thinking was what I could do with just the half. And I immediately thought of all of the people that I bless in the ministry, the family, different people that are in need, and people that were specifically in need, not just my needs. I could have just taken care of 80% of my tax debt and then my tithe. But I said, well, I could alleviate more stress in the world from the debt that has nothing to do with the debt to men. So I didn't pay off the tax debt. I just gave some of it to the IRS debt. But I used a preponderance of it on helping someone. And it changed the world. That one person that I took most of that money and gave to them changed the world. I can't tell you the countless numbers of people that were affected and changed. So I'm still paying that monthly penalty on that $9,000 debt. But because I took that money and gave it to God's work and supported that man, I cannot tell you the amount of souls that have been affected by that. I chose which burden I would carry that would give me the greatest benefit for God's kingdom. And it was, I'll continue to carry that IRS burden. What do you carry in your life? You have to choose because you're going to carry something. Most of the things that we stress about, we can handle. You can get rid of it. It's not going to give you as much peace as you think. Because the only things, what did we say in the black church? Every black person knows this one. Only what you do for God will last. It's not Christmas gifts with thousands of dollars. Give that to God's work this year. It's not Halloween decorations for thousands of dollars and candy with sugar giving diabetes. Give that to God. It's not a yearly annual pass to Disneyland. Really? My fellow believers? Disneyland? That's the indoctrination? And don't get me wrong, I don't want to go off track. We talked about it today. You grow up teaching your children the fairy tales of God's existence. Noah in this boat and this you turn it into a fairy tale, a cartoon. But the reason why the kids don't take it serious, because what do? You also have Little Red Riding Hood, Jack and the Beanstalk, SpongeBob, that purple dragon, Barney, is he still around? We tell them all kinds of wonderful stories. And what happens? On their bookshelf in the room, the Bible little cute cartoon, the story is made cartoonish, a caricature. It's made on a shelf like all the other fairy tales. Get it? All the others. It's one of many, not one of none. We just lump these little veggie tale stories. See, it's just like Jesus is just a Nickelodeon Disney story. The kids see no difference. Why would they take God serious? It's just another myth, another fairy tale. After all, you got Snow White and all of these little Red Riding Hood stories, and I get it. And we take God and we make him into a cartoon to our children. We don't take that and put that book on an entire different part of the room. It's not like a thing else. This is not a children's book. Like we do these other little things we read to you. Oh, over here, now let's talk about the Lord. And you're reading about Noah in a real sense. You see, you think, well, it's for children. No, that's for adults because children can take it. They can handle the truth. It's the adults who can't. We turn it into a cartoon. We think we have to make colorful things and make a chair talk for a child to get it. Make the rabbit act like a human and the elephant act like a preacher. No, people, where do you get this from? You who believe in God do these things. You know that, right? You diminish God to your children. They don't take it serious. And they definitely don't take it serious from you because it really, for a lot of you, the only time they ever really hear about God in any degree of seriousness is when they go to Sunday school or their little Christian school. But you are the mother and the father. Everything people learn from life, they learn it from their home. Not the school, not the church building, the home. It is where they were given life. You gave them birth. You are their greatest teacher. No amount of anyone else talking to them is ever going to affect their life like you. Your love, your joy, your example in front of them when you argue how to problem solve, when you're hurting, how to heal each other, how to comfort each other. They know how to show love by watching how you show love. They know how to handle adversity by watching how you handle adversity. You are the most important person on this planet. Not a preacher, not a teacher, not a politician, not an entertainer. Mom and Dad, you are amazing. You are the most powerful two beings on this planet. Adam and Eve in the garden. Fulfill your role. Do better. If you don't, that's okay. That's your choice. If you choose to carry the burden more of the world than the burden of God, that's okay. That's your choice. If you think you're better off by giving the devil his due, paying off the devil's debts than God, then that's fine. That's your choice. Trump said it. He got it from President Reagan. If you're better off 4 years ago, are you better off 4 years ago than you are now? No, you're not. But that's your choice. Nearly half the country still voted for the other side, knowing that they're not better off because they're ideologues. It's not really about being better off. They chose the burden of Kamala rather than the burden of Trump. And the burden of Trump will set us free politically in this country. The burden of Kamala would not, but there are people that still choose that. You see, people will choose the weed, the drugs, the meth. They will choose the prostitute. They will choose the adrenaline of a gym and Pilates, makeup and Botox and tattoos and piercings. They will choose that burden. They've learned to take joy in sin and wickedness. It excites them. It's a dopamine for them. They choose that. Face the fact, some people just choose the wrong thing. They feel right in it. You can't tell them anything else. They feel justified. Don't try to even tell them they chose the wrong thing. It won't matter. See, the Lord is just that loving. He frees you to choose. But in the end, the results will speak for themselves. Choose right. Choose God's burden. It's a burden, yes, but it's an easy one. It's a yoke. Indeed, he said it would be, but it's light. There'll be trouble, yes, but I'll be with you. There'll be tribulation, yes, but you'll not be alone. It might get tough. It's okay. I can help you carry that. It might get rough. That's all right. I'll make the path smooth. It might hurt. It's okay. I've got a healing salve for the pain. I might have to cry. I got a handkerchief. I can dry your tear. Might be sad. I know just how to comfort someone saddened in heart. Don't worry about that. I'll have joy in the morning. Wine for those that are mourning. Comfort for those in unrest. Peace for those that are in distress. And light for those that are surrounded by darkness. It's okay. And in the end, I have eternal life for you. Endure hardness as a good soldier. Joy cometh in the morning. Don't carry his burden. He loves you. Love him back. And then you can brag about the big fish you caught and given for God, rather than the big fish he sends to swallow you and teach you a lesson. I think I'm going to go fish right now.